GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome, everybody, to our Wednesday episode where we go take a look at what's been going on Instagram. Come on, buddy. Go take a look at what's been going on Instagram over here on YouTube. A couple of reasons for that. One's to share because people on YouTube aren't always looking at Instagram. Also, because the stuff that's being posted on Instagram isn't always being posted over here as well. Also, just to help share some of these links, get things posted, shared around, talked about, and also spend some time with folks who join us live. So let's get into that. We'll say thanks to everybody for joining us live. Sorry for the late start. I'm not blaming anybody. We're not blaming anybody specifically for the late start, but some of the co-hosts are higher maintenance than other co-hosts. There was other times in the past where I had to take co-hosts out for a piddle before the show, but now it's because of a puppy. We're going to be going live here for a bit, and then you have the opportunity to check out Cape Gunworks. That goes live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is pretty much when we wrap this show up, or maybe a little bit before that. We're kind of on time today. And I recommend checking it out because Toby hosts a great Second Amendment conversation over there. Sure, there's a lot of gun talk, but because they're in Massachusetts where they have lots of issues and stuff with challenges to freedom, there's quite a bit of Second Amendment focus there. So Toby does a great job of monitoring the chat and the people that are calling in and texting into the show. It is a radio show. And they have a gun shop, so super knowledgeable about gun issues and gun topics. So it's a fun show to watch. We run this one right before that show, so we'll have an automatic link. We've arranged it through YouTube to have an automatic link happen that'll just conveniently take you over to their show after this show. Let's see. Let's say hey to the people joining us live. Start off with the people that were here first, which was Mike White out in California. Sounds like you got back now. You're back in after your trip. Got G23, who I believe is not on a road trip right now. And then you guys were chatting for a bit. I forgot that the show was supposed to start, so I took little dude outside, and he did his business. He was a good boy. So that will trigger a good boy appreciation biscuit. There he goes. Mello got one tossed over to her as well. She is looking for it and is now eating it. If anybody wants to super chat, it's not necessary by any means, but we do appreciate the super chats. They help pay for our software and for this little dude's food. Can you imagine how much food this dog wants to eat? So I buy a lot of food and I make him look at it. Every once in a while we give him somebody super chats. Again, no obligation, but if you do, that's an extra bonus. A lot of other shows don't feed a little hungry dog every time there's a super chat, but we do. All right, so we started late, so thanks to the folks that were out there early. I'm going to just put this dude down. Hold on. I've got to take care of this. You're getting put down, buddy. You're getting put down. You can't handle it. Mello got a cookie. All right, so now he's out of here. He had to go inspect Mello's biscuit. He's not satisfied that seeing her eat it, that it's actually gone. So he's went over there to sniff around. And let's see. Oh, no, you said on the New Mexico, Arizona. Oh, no, they're talking about the trip. On the New Mexico, Arizona border, ran into some violent hail, thunder, wind, and rain where the New Mexico state troopers led a caravan and cars through it. Oh, interesting. So you're talking about on 10 probably, where it gets really crazy there on the Arizona side of New Mexico. New Mexico sucks. And in that part of New Mexico, the wind sucks all of that sand up and blows it into Arizona. California blows that sand over towards the ocean. That's what my little joke is. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, it's interesting that you got to experience that, but I'm sure your paint job didn't love it. It's essentially driving through a sand blasting station. Slow down to 15 miles an hour because you couldn't see in front. Sometimes they don't even let you drive at all in that, and you just want to leave because you're essentially just sitting in a sandblasting place. And that's, again, the fault of New Mexico. They could glue down all that sand. I've said it for years. All it would take is some helicopters. They can dust crop. All I got to do is put glue in there, glue all that dust down. You're good to go. It'll still look the same, but now it's not all dusty. You could dust it and sweep it or whatever, but they refuse to do it. Probably a cost thing. They care more about cost than they do about people saving time driving through there. All right, so that's when we took the co-host outside to do his business. And we got John Z joining us as well. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully everyone found the taco that we have placed underneath your chair. If something ate the taco before you got to it, that's not our fault. We put it down there early this morning so that it would be good to go for your show at noon. And check underneath your chair. We know we could tell who was going to watch. We snuck into your places and stuck a taco underneath your chair. So you're welcome. Another perk of joining our show live. And then Mike Wade is saying, did you see where I posted a video of the Cowboys doing what they call the snake in the arena? I don't know. So you went out to a rodeo in Oklahoma? Is that what we were talking about? So no, if you're talking about on Instagram, I didn't see it. And if you're talking about on YouTube, I definitely didn't see it. So if you want, throw a link. Somebody's a moderator, somebody can throw a link. So then Apologetically Armed is out there also. Welcome. All right, let's dig in. We're going to, our point of our show is to go to Instagram and cross the stream, so to speak. So let me see which, this is the monitor today. Boom, there's our Instagram feed. I guess I was scrolling down it earlier. So that's what it looks like if you went to our channel. For your convenience, what I'll do is make this the full screen, and then I'll zoom it in. And what we're going to do is not look at our own stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we post. A bunch of reminders, a bunch of alerts, and a bunch of heads ups. And every once in a while, I haven't even posted a gun in forever. Problem is, if you post a gun on Instagram nowadays, they act like you're selling it and they restrict your channel even more. I mean, I don't really care. My channel doesn't get distributed to anybody except the 57,000 people that follow it. And we all know that those people aren't all paying attention to it. But I don't try to grow the channel so much on Instagram other than leverage its clout. You know, a channel with 57,000 subscribers that's been around for a while has some leverage, some weight on the platform. And that's one of the reasons we do this project. I'll go in and I'll save things using this little ribbon looking icon, and that'll put it into this folder, which lets us talk about it on Wednesdays, but it puts it into this folder. So Instagram is being engaged with this size channel with the longevity that it's got. And the idea is that the rising tide lifts all boats. So hopefully if we're tied to smaller stuff, that we can help lift that smaller stuff. If that's the way it works, you know, nobody ever knows. So trying to go back a week, I don't remember talking about all this stuff. So this is 7 days ago. We're getting there. I think we did look at this one because we talked about Cheryl going through and taking a look at this. So this is the Branson Convention Center where the Armed Women of America had their conference. I think I've seen somewhere how many people attended, but Unapologetically Armed is out there. She might know off the top of her head how many people attended this year, but this gives you an idea of the scope of the scale of the event, at least in the setup stages. Did we talk about the slave trade and all that last week? I think we may have ended And I don't remember where we ended last week. All right, so we'll just start here again. This is August 5th. Oh no, that's way more than a week ago. We need to go to something like the 9th. We did this show last week, right? Four days ago. Come on. August 5th, that doesn't make any sense because then this one says 7 days ago. So it has to do with when I saved it, I guess, not when the post went live. You want to come back up here now or what? I think we posted about this Marine thing. Usually remember talking about Marines because I only do it so often. The $1,000 tax. Let's see what this guy's all about. Crump doing a thing about the Illinois. I guess Illinois is trying to do something with advertising now. So Crump posted something about that. So it's a good opportunity to talk about John Crump. He posts mostly on live stuff on YouTube or on articles on AmmoLand. He's also been a pretty regular expert witness, like guest on different national news things. So he's been getting a lot of awareness out there. Speaking of awareness, we're taking a look at Tony. So Tony's handle or whatever on YouTube and on Instagram is Simon Says Train. His name is Tony Simon. So Simon Says Train. He made this a long time ago, and this is where he hosts all the Second is for Everyone diversity shoot posts. So the Second is for Everyone is the name of the kind of organization, the concept, and then one of the projects is the diversity shoot, and that is an orientation and an awareness event for people who are new to guns or new to the gun community. So Tony lives in New Jersey. Most of the events are within a quick drive of New York City at different shooting ranges in New Jersey. So he invites people of all different, whatever you want to say, like anybody who's interested shows up. And it's like it says, it's a diversity shoot. You get to show up no matter if your age or your shape or your interests or whatever it is that you got going on and you're new to guns. Show up at this event. They give you some orientation and some familiarization, and then if you want, you get on the range and you pull triggers and see what different types of guns are like. You're also seeing what the gun community's like, what gun owners are like, answering questions, and then at the end you have pizza and chat about what happened. And people show up, they check it out, they bring their friends, they know that it's there. Tony does them on a regular basis, so he's an introduction, an on-ramp for folks to get into the gun community. And he does this with grassroots level where he's just doing it. He doesn't have a giant plan. He's kind of creating it as he goes without a massive goal of, trying to become the next firearms instructor or something. He's very satisfied being this ambassador and making the event less of a money-making project as a bringing people into the culture type of an event. Let's see. So Unapologetically Armed is saying that she doesn't know the numbers but that image is where the vendors were. They had speakers and a banquet in a much larger room. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I thought that might have been the whole event. So it's good to hear. And again, that's when it's empty. So who knows how, well, I guess we'll see some other pictures maybe of what it looked like when it was all full or, in full swing. Foss is out there. Welcome. Must have had a run of tacos. I got nachos. Oh, there might have been some confusion. There's when we use the fax machine to fax all the way up to your corner of the country, the lines probably, maybe something happened in the fax. Maybe something was smeared. Sorry about that. Unapologetically Armed said had to leave mid-conference and get back home, then ran back. very grateful to be only an hour away, so I was able to get back. Yeah, that's kind of the way life can be sometimes, for sure. Best laid plans, so to speak. But again, it's good that you are close enough that you were able to get there. Sometimes the ends are some of the best parts. So, missing all the middle part, you might be able to, especially the presentations, if those are recorded, most of the time you're just sitting there listening to the presentation. It's the beginnings and ends when everybody's doing their thing, getting together, and all the little side things happens. That's a lot of the value of these events. So it's good that you got to see all that. Next one is from Unapologetically Armed, because we have that all set up ahead of time so that it works this way. And this one says, it's a post that says, ask the questions, insist on changes. So it's kind of an infographic, I guess you could say. Questions we are not asking our school superintendents and principals, but should be. And then it's a bunch of questions and then responses to those. The comment here or the description says, yes, some math is unpleasant, and meanwhile, kids are getting killed because some refuse to look at the situation objectively. Safety of all children should be the priority for all of us, not our stance on firearms. So suck it up and think of them first and only. Anything less is inexcusable. So essentially, it's a bunch of questions, a dozen of them, that question that bring to light a focus on, people that will dismiss the issue as, oh, this can be accomplished with a phone call to the police. Well, they don't pay attention to the response times or the historical results of that. And, when you take people out of their assumptions, you get a more useful conversation. Okay, I clicked the wrong button, so we'll get to, I kind of feel like we might have done that one last week, so we might be overlapping a little bit. Okay, now what's happening? I don't know what happened here, so we went to some kind of a search. Definitely, it's because it's Airborne Day. I'm like, I'm not usually looking at pictures of Rangers and stuff. So this is ours. So this is our feed. Now I have to drop back down to where we was. And I think this might have been Cheryl's post from last week, so I might have been all messed up. Let's go to this one. Is this the video? No. But this is showing some of the stuff that Cheryl was showing off. This must be the banquet room. Looks like a larger room and a whole bunch of chairs. Different type of atmosphere in there. More of like a banquet, different kind of room for sure. Not a giant auditorium room. So this is from NSSF, and it says Half of America's governors are celebrating National Shooting Sports Month the right way by signing official proclamations celebrating the role the firearm and ammunition industry fulfills within their respective states. These governors highlighted the contributions of job creation, economic impact, and conservation efforts through the Pittman-Robertson excise tax payments paid by firearms and ammunition manufacturers in the past week. And then it lists a bunch of governors I'm not going to list, signed the NSSM proclamations for their states, National Shooting Sports Month, I guess. With 3 weeks left in the month-long celebration of recreational shooting sports and more governors likely to sign their own proclamations, it's gearing up to be one of the most successful National Shooting Sports Month celebrations by governors yet. So I guess you got to pat yourself on the back when you got to pat yourself on the back. And this is an effort that we probably should expect from a national level industry liaison to create awareness for some of these things. But first off, this one comment says, better step it up, Arizona. We got a horrible governor here. I don't know if you paid attention, but our governor is definitely a Democrat. She doesn't come out in public, and she's like, she hangs out in her basement or something. She's like a really bad governor. I don't know if people like her or not, but I don't know who the opposite. Her person running against her was a TV reporter who got all mad and ran as a Republican. So the lady who didn't even run won. The plug is laying on the ground now. John's Waters here, welcome. And The dog is laying on the ground now. He was up here earlier. Maybe he'll come back up. The questions are from Ed Monk of Last Resort Firearms. He's great. Oh, okay. In that post. Appreciate it. Okay, so the other thing about this is I'm not a big fan of NSSF half the time. Half the time I think they're great. The other half of the time they bother me. And one of the things that bothers me is when they bring up this whole like Pittman-Robertson Act. Ugh. Why don't we just as an industry give money to conservation? We all value it, and we all understand that it looks good. It's a good virtue signal. Plus, it's good. It's a good thing to leave to the descendants of the country. So we could do this. We don't need this stupid law to do it. And I'd rather not bring up that we're doing it because we have to, because I think we'd be doing it anyway, or at least we have the potential to prove that we could do it anyway. Let's see. So read between the lines, and this is a VCDL, right? The Virginia Citizens Defense League, one of the best national level or one of the best state level organizations in the country, posted this. It says a shocker: Bloomberg's Trace newsroom outed as another gun control group. Bloomberg wants us disarmed and will do whatever it takes to make that happen, creating his own statistics and studies laundered under a newsroom called Trace. The Trace has been denying since it was formed that it's a gun control group, but it was just a matter of time before it was outed. And then this person, what's his name? The gun writer, there's a link to it. So VCDL link to this article. We'll bring that up. And this is on a Substack from the gun writer who is named Lee Williams. And it basically goes in here and says that, let's see, the Trace is a blah, 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 blah. The Trace calls itself. Okay, so it says, enter Firearms Policy Coalition Intelligence Associated Rob Romano. And this person researched the IRS Form 990s for both the Trace and Everytown. And I guess the IRS forms are nonprofit forms that nonprofits have to submit. And I guess there was a tweet or something, and somebody was suggesting that the Trace wasn't a gun control thing. So this Rob guy went and looked at the tax things, and they're both organizations are run by the same president. So the news organization in Everytown for gun control is the same president. So ethical violations and takeaways, and evidently the Second Amendment Foundation has an investigative journalism department that either has its own patch or its own 3D rendering of a patch, potentially a budget. So it's interesting. So we're seeing this on somebody's own Substack. Hopefully we'll see more stuff like this. I don't know, am I missing stuff like this? That's the first time I've seen something like that. So I've subscribed to that Williams guy Substack. You got to pay $5 a month to see every issue. I did the free one, and it says it'll be intermittent free issues. So I don't know what that means. We'll find out. And we'll find out how useful that is. So the next thing is San Diego County gun owners has an event, the first ever shooting social at North County Shooting Center. We want our attendees to challenge yourself to new heights and embrace the thrill of hitting bullseyes. We'll be your guide. Just show up and have a good time. So they're having a shooting social at a shooting center. So I dig it. That is happening on August 26th. So you've got next Saturday, not this Saturday that's coming up, the 19th, but the 26th, the Saturday after that. Check that out. If you're in the San Diego area, San Marcos. But if I'm missing more of these, definitely let us know. We're going to be including the calendar in this show from now on. So I can't put every single shooting event like this, but we can certainly attempt to put the ones that tell us about them. There's Gizzard showing up. Good afternoon. Gizzard does a show every Friday afternoon, Friday evening for most of you, called Foul Territory. Highly encourage you to check it out. Keeps everybody together and focused on what's happening with a couple of hours worth of live conversation. Let's see. So now we've got Armed Atlas at the
Part of what we do here.
the
But
NAGA
my
convention.
question-
So I'm going to put the volume on and go back to it so we can listen to a chunk. It's actually pretty long, so we'll listen to a chunk of it here. And I'll try to grab the pug.
We are here with Myla Ray, I understand the National Director of Training
Come here.
for NAGA, and we are at the NAGA annual convention. Man, thank you so much for being a part of what we do here. But my question for you is, how's it been? How's the energy? What's going on?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It feels good to be around this many people. But that's what we're about. Community, training, education. It's what we do. It's what we do. And I just appreciate you having me, man.
of course.
I appreciate that, brother. I do.
Yes, sir.
I do.
So, you are the National Director of Training. You just, more or less, just launched the new training curriculum for NAGA instructors. How's that been implementing it? Because it's been all weekend. You guys have been running people through the certification course.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been good. To be honest with you, it's one of those things that it's phenomenal to be able to see things come to fruition.
Yeah.
Especially when you really put the work in and actually do the work, right? Then it's rewarding. We had a couple of people that did not make it, but I say that I'm not going to say their names, but I say that because we want to let people know that there is a golden standard.
There is a standard.
And there is a standard
There has to
because
be.
you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
And we cannot be above safety. We cannot be above the process. And that goes even for myself. I had to shoot the quad. I had to do every single box that I implemented, every SOP that I did, every standard that I wrote. I have to do that, and I have to maintain those standards.
Right.
And no one's above that. And I always believe that crap starts at the top. So if there's no crap at the top, ain't nothing to roll down.
That's right.
Period.
I love it. I love that you are committed to holding that standard and
Absolutely.
keeping it, or even raising that bar a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. So, for those who want to know where to find you, how they can kind of be a part of NAGA, how they can join the training program, let us know how to join the training program. Then tell people how they can find you.
Okay, so you go to naga.co, you click on training, and you click on how to become an instructor. Every single thing that you're going to need is wrote out for you. It's no brain power. Just click, read, apply, and follow the steps. After that, be prepared because during the instructor development course, we're not teaching you to shoot. See, being an instructor, you should already know a few things.
A few things,
And
yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I do, right? And so just that's where a lot of people, they kind of like, and then just know that within 1 year, you will have to get stop the bleed, CPR, AED, you will have to be insured, and you do have to become an RSO. That is a requirement. And I know a lot of times, a lot of different organizations, they're always like, well, why do you require that and we don't got to get over here? Because, see, when you know better, you do better. I know better. I know that as an instructor, liability is an issue. I know that you should not be a firearm instructor and you're not an RSO, which is a range safety officer.
Right.
I know that if you're going to have a gun, you need to have stop the bleed because I'm not saying something's going to happen. But what if it does?
Right. And really,
You know,
you're more likely to use medical than to ever use a firearm.
Absolutely.
The numbers speak for themselves.
Facts.
So I can
Facts.
definitely appreciate you guys
Yeah.
taking the least sexy part of using a firearm or getting involved in the firearm space and,
Yes.
and what we do here and bringing that and making sure that's included.
Absolutely.
Because it's the most important part.
Well, pretty good interview, but of course, the least sexy part of firearms ownership is 9mm. But I'm going to bring the puppy cam up so that everybody can see the co-host. See when he acts like this, he's going to start making noises. See? He doesn't make noises when he's on the floor, but he makes noises up here. Some kind of issue he has. But we'll leave him up here for a minute. But a lot of interesting stuff there. So we can see a portion of the convention. We can see the national director of training. And, you know, one of the interesting things about NAGA started in 2015. And unlike other organizations that have been top down, they've been unique in being individual local club focused. So there's all these different gun clubs that came together with the national organization of the NAGA, National American Gun Owners Association. That started in 2015. So, but the idea was always whatever the groups are doing, whatever the local clubs are doing, keep doing it. That's your thing. You know, the individuality or whatever was the focus, and the structure came from the national level. But now this is going to be a different situation in that the training curriculum is going to be distributed from one place going down. So I'm not sure, what that means for the organization. It's just a different direction of the flow from the rest of the, I don't know what you call that, structure, hierarchy, or whatever. And we'll see what the results of that are. But otherwise, it's also interesting, just as someone who's been interested in training since for a long time, I guess you could say. So this recent evolution of training requires less qualification or um, time on the clock. What's the word? Reputation. Than it does. I don't want to say marketing, but there's going to be a lot more what sounds good than a lot less what has worked. And I don't think it's necessarily possible to have too much reputation. There can be you can have a reputation or a what's the word? You can have a what's the word? You can have experience, time on the clock doing stuff, but experiences are changing so quickly that I'm not sure how relevant experiences are going to continue to be going forward. And I don't know how relevant novice experience is ever. And that's what we're seeing, mix in with everything recently. Well, it's been more and more, let's just say on an increase, you see novice influence much more pervasive, or, much more a part of it. I'm going to put this dog back down. He's just being bad. He's not good. Super distracting. It's almost like you shouldn't have a dog on a show. Almost. Let me put you down. You're getting put down, buddy. Are you being so bad? All right, you got put down. All right, so let's see. The vinyl came out from Sergeant Barry Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler. They don't put the date in here, but it's something like 60 something. I don't know. They didn't put the date in this one. I just reposted this one. I have my own post that I'll post occasionally on this one. But awesome song. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. Cool dude on Instagram, friend of mine, somebody I follow, and every once in a while he'll do something like this, posted and linked over to us. He knows I'm a Red Dawn fan. So this is one of the opening scenes of Red Dawn, right after the teacher had finished an instruction about how the Russian Mongols or somebody would do their invasions and how they would surround the area and start to tighten the circle or make the circle smaller and smaller and just kill everything inside the circle. And that's how they would come in and take over a region. And then as he's completing that lesson, the communist paratroopers start falling in and gathering their communist stuff and then start wailing on everybody. So this is across the street from this isn't a big field that was still there the last time I was there. And then that's across the street from this high school. And then you go across the street and through the parking lot, and that's where the football fields and stuff are. I don't know if is it a football field? And that's where these windows were back in 1984 when they filmed this. But whenever I started going to this place in 2012, I guess, the windows had already been boarded up. But the school essentially still looks the same. Nowadays, you can't even drive onto the school property and everything. But you can see it, and although there's new scoreboards there, the old scoreboards were there the last time I was there in like 2018. But definitely iconic chunk of the movie and filmed right in the middle of Las Vegas, New Mexico, right next to their junior high. It's actually a junior high school. Another one from Unapologetically Armed. World is upside down. This happened while she was at home. becoming part of the Women for Gun Rights most assuredly led her to her voice. Sitting here trying to imagine Cheryl Todd and Diana Mueller talking about Little Meat in order to inspire a room full of amazing women. Probably best that I wasn't there. Compliments get me all squirmy like. I mean, they even did the chant. So the chant is hey ho, hey ho ho, gun-free zones have got to go. And that was from the steps of the DC. Well, it was the steps of the Supreme Court building in DC. Now that I'm saying this, I forgot to get you that video. I'm trying to remember where I would have the September backups. I do backups, but I do them because I'm cheap. I just have a bunch of hard drives. And whenever it's time to do a backup, it's because my hard drives are full. And then I'll look for space on a hard drive. So it's not like I have a really good system and like just shelves with all my hard drives. So I know that those files probably exist on a September hard drive, or a September folder on a hard drive. I just don't know which hard drive it's on, so I didn't find that file for you. Sorry about that. You probably needed it for the event, I'm guessing. But anyway, so this was a video. We happened to know about it because we were streaming live, and Krabby Turtle, I don't know if Krabby's out there right now, was there and streaming for us, helping us out. And that's where we got to watch it happen live. So essentially, a bunch of ladies showed up in DC, and as part of their visit to meet the representatives and to gather and to become resources and to help create awareness to those representatives about the reality of gun owners and gun ownership in 2023, the ladies gathered. They were supposed to gather at the Capitol, but I guess something was going on or they didn't let them. So you changed your location over to the Supreme Court building, and each of the ladies was essentially doing a bit of a speech or a bit of a testimonial. I don't know what to call it. And Susan's was a part of it was about gun-free zones being all the different issues with them. And part of her presentation was the chant. And it was pretty good. And it was actually, if I remember how it went down, there was somebody messing with you. Somebody came up and was like, had a loudspeaker and was messing with the ladies. I don't think he was messing with them because of them or their stance. I think he was just weird, messing with anybody who was in his way. Is his way of doing, moving through the world. So once he moved on, I think it was your rally or your chant that helped get everything back on track. Oh, the Capitol was just an ugly background. Yeah, it was probably still under construction. I'm sure they're not doing that quickly. But then it says here, Susan Myers, DC Project, Missouri State Director, finding your voice and relentlessly fighting for what you believe in. Susan in her state capitol testifying. Susan is in her state capitol testifying, rallying Missouri women, speaking with legislators, and working to make a difference. It's true. So very cool. And I don't know how many ladies they spotlighted, but right on, well deserved. So next we have Rebecca Schmoy. It says, if people ever really figure out what individual liberty looks like in practice, they are going to be furious that they were lied to by the identity politics people. I think this is an awesome one. First, it's a black and white, just, nothing, black and white, and it uses a couple of different font types to kind of get the point across or emphasize some of the parts. So it says, if people ever really figure out what individual liberty, and individual liberty is a big thing. We think about liberty, right? But we are individuals and we have to deal with other people, right? So I think of individual freedom as the issue that we all want freedom, but we're individuals. So, liberty is individual freedom. Everybody's individual freedom together, people being free but willing to concede their own freedom a bit when somebody else is standing there or somebody else can see what they're doing or whatever it is. They intentionally don't do anything they want because they understand there's other people wanting to do what they want, And I think that's what individual liberty expresses. That's attempting to understand. And, as that gets into practice, and I don't think that's something you attain, we have a scale or a dial, and the what do you call it? The indicator goes over into that realm when the conditions are right. And when the conditions change, the dial moves or the indicator changes, and things can change again. So we can do things to keep it in that place, but it doesn't just get to sit there. It's not you don't just get to attain it and walk away and you can be done. So it's a difficult thing to do, because you always have the people who don't understand and who are figuring out their boundaries. But at the times when that comes into practice, and we have had eras like that, we've had times like that, we have places like that, where in practice we see it or see very close to it. And that's where I think people aren't paying attention. They definitely don't want to shine light on that. There's no focus on it at a media level, at a national level. There's hardly ever any in focus on it. But the identity politics part, I don't know so much about that, but I can assume that's the people that just get tied up in the unnecessary facade that gets created by the exploiters and the charlatans. So, I think that's a great post, at least the way I understand it. And, it gets you thinking about that it is possible and it is reachable, obtainable to have, where everybody's doing their thing peacefully. That's our tendency. That's where we are as humans. I mean, we don't have any intention to go out and be dicks or be rude or be assholes. Once we know what bothers people, we leave them alone. And when people abuse that, it becomes frustrating. But once there's some measures in place to stop that abuse, we all get comfortable again. And there's times when that swing gets annoying and it seems like it doesn't swing back and forth, and people can intentionally hold it one way or the other, but having that focus on the bigger picture, right? I think that's part of what this is all about. So Rebecca says in the description here, if what you are searching for is the ability to be exactly who you are without restriction or oppression, then congratulations, you are searching for individual liberty. I have good news. You already have that. It already belongs to you. It's inherent. You were born with it. However, individual liberty does not work without you also exercising your inherent personal responsibility. You cannot pawn your responsibility off on someone or something like the government else and expect to not trade something in return. When you hand the reins of your responsibility over to another, you are simply along for the ride, whichever direction they choose to go. If you want to freely live the life you were designed to live, you must hold the reins for yourself. So it's an interesting one. Oh, look at this dude, still around. So I've said, well said. Holy smoke said, you are right on point. All right, so awesome. Rebecca Schmoy, Kansas. Gizzard will take credit for that one, being in Kansas. Well played, Kansas. Let's see. Oh, okay, so then we'll still find that for you. I just saw that post that you didn't need it just for that. Patch Club Official is the undercover invite-only page that you're not supposed to know about, but I'm just telling you about it right now. Don't tell anybody. You can check it out, and what it'll do is give you full access to the new stuff that's on the way from Alan Anker. So it looks like they're now getting into the three-dimensional toy models, or maybe this is just a patch with such detail that it looks like some kind of a remote control vehicle. So they're all into the cars now, so they're doing a bunch of vehicle-related patches. You can check them out at Alan Anker. This is the 2A rally. They do a rally every year in February here in Arizona, and they don't post very often, but this one says how Democrats think society will look without firearms, and it's got some kind of weird space future with everybody holding hands and looking at a space city, I guess. Maybe those are space battleships. I'm not sure what they're looking at. But then it says underneath how it really looks, and it's essentially a concentration camp. So I'm not the biggest fan of these, because then you're, complaining about Democrats, and then, if you're a Democrat, you're going to be all pissed. So you could easily say how idiots think society will look without firearms, and then if somebody thinks that way, they're an idiot, right? You're not demonizing Democrats. Somebody wants to be a Democrat, that's fine with it's legal. They can be a Democrat if they want, but you don't have to mess with that line. And then the whole bottom part, I don't like exploiting tragedy, and that whole stuff that happened. We all know about it, and there's other ways you can get the point across than using people's actual lives. Most of these people are dead more than likely. So using a fake AI picture, great, get your point across. Come up with a fake AI picture to get your point across for the bottom. They probably harked that off of somebody. You can tell because it's not even centered right and it's all blown out. But whatever, just we create the internet we want. Patriots out there, good afternoon. I'm going to use this moment to throw a Ninja ad out there so that, well, first off, Cape Gunworks is about to go live, but I'm guessing it's not because it's the top of the hour, is it? Oh shit, it is the top of the hour. We got about 8 minutes till the top of the hour. They're going live a little bit early to do some pre-show checks and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to take a second here I got to drink some coffee. My mouth gets dry after having to talk the whole time. I don't have a co-host, but here you go.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America.
That's Bob, our old co-host from Canada, the original co-host, and he happens to be from Canada, back in the early days of the Daily Gun Show. So the Daily Gun Show used to be live every single weeknight. I can't quite pull that off right now, but we want to thank our Patreons who make it possible for us to spend time on projects like this one that we're doing right now, which is essentially Daily Gun Show episode. It's a different version than we've done in the past. But our Patreons subscribe to what we do. Most of them are paying $5 a month for a subscription, and it's essentially a cup of coffee each month. That adds up, and it allows us to pay for the servers, to pay for the software, and to spend time on stuff like this. So we do appreciate those Patreons. And check out the Daily Gun Show. Like I say, this is one episode of it. We go live every Friday at midnight Eastern. And we chat about something like this, except what happened on YouTube during the week. And let's see, Tuesday morning, afternoon, depending on where you are, I go live sometimes with Clover Tack. And we do coaching. If you're a Second Amendment advocate or Second Amendment content creator, and you're looking for coaching, some advice or some direction on tech or software or strategy or anything related to content creation, let us know. We're happy to help out and make the dissemination or the getting the information out there less an issue, so that you can get to your advocacy or your projects. So it looks like Cape Gunworks is getting ready. We'll again, recommend that you check their chat out after this one. In fact, we've got a little robot set up that will invite people to check out their show when this one ends. But I think we got a little while to go here since I've been blabbing. All right, boom. But again, thanks to Patriot. He has a great show out there, or a great channel out there. He'll post all kinds of interesting stuff, often politically focused, but not always. And friend for a long time. I've actually slept at his place on the road trips back in the day. Guns and Water, I think I said hey. And if I'm missing anybody, let me know. I think I got everybody who've said hey so far. All right, so next up is Pincus. Was over at Cape Gunworks, and it looks like he helped get the van out to the rally by grabbing one of the custom-made rally tags from 2019. Looks like he's got the rapid-fire radio patch going with the rally flag patch. Pretty cool. I don't have one of these PDN patches. If anybody's got one of them to trade, let me know. Otherwise, he's got some kind of cert pistol, I'm guessing, and a Vertex bag. So pretty decent product shot and a bunch of our stuff in there. Very cool. Moving on. Oh, and that was chatting about, the post was about a class that was happening at Cape Gunworks last weekend, unorthodox shooting positions. Speaking of unorthodox, a weapon is a weapon, and a hatchet was also a repeater that could be used over and over. So people that think that guns are so bad don't have any idea what violence is all about. Patriot just dropped $10. Thank you very much. I actually just seen that he has over 1 million views. Well done. Well done. No, that I was saying the one from Pincus over here, that PDN. It's probably his PDN Personal Defense Network patch. I don't know how you get one or where you got them or what the deal was, but I'm assuming somebody might have one out there. So thanks again to Patriot for the $10 super chat. With 1 million views on your channel, that's nothing to look down at. That's a heck of a lot of people, and that's a heck of a lot of reach. People, a lot of people don't think about it when I say value your voice, but 1 million people. I mean, that's a town, a giant town. It's a big city. That's a population of people. So that's actually not individual views, but still that's certainly not 15 people watching stuff that often. It takes a bunch of people to be able to accumulate that many views. Well done. Oh, Daddy Dutch out there, barbecue, welcome. So a weapon is a weapon. A hatchet was also a repeater and could be used over and over. And a very savage quote if you think about it. The first reference in America to a repeating firearm was made by Samuel Niles, a clergyman and historian who wrote A History of Multiple English Wars with the French and Indians in New England from 1706 to 1763, so almost a 50-something year war. In the fall of 1722, delegates of the Six Nations of Iroquois came to Boston to confer with the General Assembly, stating they were friends with the English and regretted the blood that had been shed by their kinsmen. As a token of their friendship, they presented a belt of wampum. Lieutenant Governor somebody gave them an engraved plate and a fat ox in exchange. The Indians had a further treat. They also were entertained with the sight of a curious gun made by some guy in Boston, John Pym of Boston, a curious piece of workmanship which through loaded but once, yet was discharged 11 times following with bullets, in the space of 2 minutes, each of which went through a double door at 50 yards distance. After observing the 11 rounds fired in 2 minutes with such penetrating power, the Indians made many fair promises of taking up the hatchet, which is the usual phrase of engaging in war, in defense of the English against the French, the Indians in their interest when occasion should require it. I don't know what that means. So after observing them shooting that gun, the Indians made many fair promises of taking up in defense of the English against the French and against the other Indians when they required it. So I guess what he's trying to say there is that it's an interesting conversation. He's basically saying that the Iroquois were willing to work with the British because they had that gun, I guess. So anybody know the gun we're talking about? Man, I don't know if I'm going to have a picture of it handy, but let's go over to Gun Shop Guide, which is where we've got, let me not go into the back door. Let's go into the front door where we've got the museums. And at the NRA Museum in Virginia, can you hear that Cape Gunworks has started? They've started already. So I've corked them before. I'm sure I'll cork them again. I have tons and tons of pictures of the museum. I just don't know if I've got any. I don't have any of them posted right now. But let's see if we just go straight to their museum's website, if they'll show us the gun in question. Ugh. Wait, 7 days a week. Okay, good. So why wasn't it already open those days? Anyway, so can we get in here? Image requests, museum, gun info. Really? Come on, man. That's how shitty their website is. Get in here. The galleries. So visit the galleries, I guess. Wow, it's a clunky old website. So somewhere, new guns in the new world. It's probably in here. Oh, really? No, it wasn't. It was in. I know where the case is. The New Republic, Age of Excellence. It's not Hollywood, so it must be in. This is the same stuff. Are these all going to the same one? It might be. No, this is the hallway going in. So 1860. Oh, I see. They got things underneath here. All right. So anyway, there's this gun that's got all the different. There's like a whole bunch of locks. Is that what it is? The things are in a row. So, oh man, is this where it is? No. Oh, it could be this picture. All right, so this is the boring part of the show where I'm looking around for a gun. But it's essentially where there's a whole bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. So there's 11 locks in a row. So it's like you load one, and then you load another, and then you load another, and then you load another, then you load another. And this one has a primer, and this one has a primer, and this one has a primer, and this one has a primer. And the trigger and the hammer just keep moving. You start at the front here, and it's like bang, and it goes bang, 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 and does that like 11 times. And then you just move everything forward again and load it. So it's this crazy gun that it's at the NRA museum that they're talking about in here. Oh man, Toby's already going.
Firing on all cylinders, able to take calls, have guests lined up for later in the show. So we're good to go. We're ready to launch. Back in the saddle.
All right, it sounds like Cape Gunworks is good to go.
You guys joining in the show.
All right, so let's end this one. There's more stuff that went on over the week, but I just took too long talking about it. KD was up in Alaska reminiscing about his adventures over the years. The International Shooting Sports is doing their event in Azerbaijan. It was Annie Oakley's birthday. She's awesome. Our friend in Mexico makes little tiny guns, has a cool little thing going on there. Cool little product there. We had Stephen Holbrook, who did that last post about the Iroquois, was on with Four Boxes Diner. Get a chance to see them. It's like a half an hour interview. It's worth it. You've got She Fires, who's often around with her 2A rated merch. Definitely recommend you go check that stuff out. Let's get you a link to that. If anybody can grab a link to that, it'd be awesome. Then a couple of different posts, probably from Ed's Manifesto, one from Jeannie Thrasher. I got people making fun of the president and every town using Kamala. Pets for Vets. And this last one is another one from Stephen Holbrook talking about Ida B. Wells. Another one from a gun shop doing a cool postal match with another gun shop. And we'll leave it with this drone that can fly around looking like a bird. So essentially, it's a very lightweight material drone that the remote control is that glove. And it looks like a bird when it's just flying in the air, and it'll hover by just hovering like a pigeon or something. And you get a pretty decent target acquisition, ranging system, and thermal imaging and that kind of stuff. So pretty neat. And if they think they're showing you the top of the line, they're not showing you the top of the line. They're showing you 10 years ago stuff. We may go live after just to do a quick summary because there is some pretty good stuff in here that we missed, but I'd rather get everybody over to Cape Gunworks because that's a show that's worth your time. I'm going to end this one. Say thanks to everybody for joining us. Have a good rest of your afternoon. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.